Well, the Astros have money to burn, but how much do they have to burn and how much bad money is coming off the books? We're going to talk about this and what the 2026 season forecast might be for this roster and how it might shape it. Let's get started right now.
Jainel Diaz, this is Locked On Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros. We update you joins for daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett Chancey, and we are the Locked On Astros podcast. We hope that you make us your daily listen. We're your team every day, so go ahead and subscribe to us. Go and make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify. Between Brett and I, we have over 18 years of podcasting experience. So go ahead and tune in to us all off season, then spring training, and then next regular season. We are not going away. We are not going to Cancun, so to speak, since the Astros are going to Cancun. But we are here for you. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you could get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. So, Brett, we're going to kind of use this episode. We're not going to throw a whole bunch of numbers at everybody, but we are going to look at, in general, what are the Astros, how much money is guaranteed, what are the potential arbitration raises, and how much money's coming off the book. What are the Astros going to do? Are they going to retool, reload, or just run it back, just change things up a little bit? Or once they make that decision, what is this front office going to be able to do? Are they legitimately going to go out there and get an ace? Are they going to go out and get another hitter, another bullpen arm? There's so many things that we're going to touch on this episode and really this whole offseason. So make sure you tune in.
Right. And, some of the room that's being created is the money going away from what I call the debacle of 2023, the winter of 2023, where they went into that off season really without a GM. And we know it was almost like it was the blind leading the blind in that off season. And that really had a negative residual effect, not only on the bottom line of the Houston Astros, but I think those guys who were then signed, there was no return on investment for them. The Astros have seen a lot of guys come in and they like to get guys that are role players, like the Brendan Rodgers, like Victor Caratini, like if you remember, Elibnis Diaz. And so the Astros are known for doing these things. And sometimes they hit a home run and sometimes they swing and miss. And, this roster construction really has been hampered by what they've been paying out for players that aren't even on the field.
Right. And we'll talk about that in a second. But the Astros, I know the competitive tax was something that Jim Crane has been very specific. I want to stay under. Every offseason, you saw the Astros last year trade away Kyle Tucker. And yes, at the trade deadline, they did upgrade. And last year, they were about $4 million over the luxury tax threshold. Where were they compared to the other teams? We'll talk about that in a second. But they are going to be paying about $1.3 million in tax for going $4.4 million over the luxury tax threshold. So Jim Crane is probably going to have the same thing this offseason. Hey, let's try to stay as close to luxury, the CBT as we can. But if we need to, if we have a winning team at the trade deadline, I don't mind adding. But if you look at it, Brett, what has it done for the Houston Astros the past 2 years? You traded for Kikuchi, and he didn't even pitch in the playoff series. And then he didn't even make it to the playoffs this year. So what'd you do?
2 years, no playoff wins. I mean, it is a drought that a lot of fans don't really talk about. I know a lot of other fan bases talk about it to us as if we don't know. But you definitely are going to just have to look at this roster. You're going to have to look at roster construction. It is good that you're no longer going to have to be paying salaries of guys that aren't here anymore. That is a good thing. But you have a lot of the arbitration guys. You're wondering how much are they going to raise each one of those guys, because they're not going to take the same money.
Yeah, before we get to arbitration guys, they'll be next. Let's talk about the guaranteed guys. These are the guys you're going to have to pay no matter what. I'm not going to read out all their contracts, but you have Carlos Correa, Altuve, Christian Walker, Josh Hader, Lance McCullers, and Jordan Alvarez, and Christian Javier. And I guess I forgot how much we're paying Christian Javier. But if you're looking at how much you owe those guys, it's about $169 million. But taxable will only be about 134. So that's a difference there. So if you're looking at the arbitration salaries, you've got Isoc Paredes, Jeremy Pena, Jesus Sanchez, Brian Abreu, Mauricio Dubon, Hunter Brown, Yainer Diaz, Ramon Urias, and then Jake Myers, Chas McCormick, Luis Garcia, De Los Santos, and Stephen O'Kurt. That's a big long list. Oh, there's more. Wait.
Oh, there's
Hayden Wisniewski, Bennett Souza, and Taylor Trammell. So if you add those, the projections are going to be about $66.7 million. That brings up the kind of the estimated CBT at $235 million, taxable $200 right there.
Right. Now let's hit on one guy specifically that is guaranteed a salary. That is Christian Walker. He has been on a lot of people's minds, and a lot of people have talked about him. Do we trade him? What is going to happen? Well, here's the thing, Eric. I've really been thinking about this. I know he had a down year, not a great year at the plate offensively. Lowest OPS he's had in 3 or 4 seasons. But the way the Astros value defensive metrics, and he's a top-notch defensive first baseman, they're not going to try to move him. He doesn't have as much value. Now, I think Christian Walker stays, and I think he's going to be a Houston Astro next year and possibly for the 3rd year. The one guy that I think that actually does have value, Eric, that they are paying or that they have an arbitration with is Isoc Paredes. Now, do I want Isoc Paredes moved? Absolutely not. I love him on this team. But if I'm going to take one of these position players for their value and get something back, solid pitching wise, and I'm going to trade, Isoc Paredes now has reestablished himself as a power hitter. Isoc Paredes came through in a major way defensively, I think, up to stock there. And there are a lot of teams out there that need third basemen that are solid, and you have Carlos Correa. So it's not like you have a hole at third base. You've got to figure out where the hell you're going to play him. And as much as I don't want him off this team, unfortunately, you have a logjam. I know a lot of people say, oh, my gosh, what are you talking about, Wheelhouse? Christian Walker's terrible. Just DFA him. Just get rid of him. It's not that simple. And I think the Astros value his glove. And I bet that they're going to say that was an anomaly. That was an off year. He's going to come back, and he's going to be better than he was. So I think they're going to put their eggs in the Christian Walker basket if they're going to trade. And I think Paredes may be up for a trade. Now, if they keep both of them, I don't know how they're going to shuffle the deck, but it'll be great to have him on this team because offensively speaking, he's a great player.
I do agree with you on them keeping Christian Walker. I just don't agree with trading Paredes, because Paredes is the exact thing that they're trying to push the team to be. They're trying to change the whole philosophy of the organization to be patient, to take pitches, to not just swing first. And so if you're going to trade the one guy that can go deep into the count and work the pitchers, that's just not going to be a good look. Hey, well, look, next time, if I do this, what you're sending a message is that if you do what the team actually wants you to do, then the next offseason we'll trade you. That's not the case, but that's just Paredes did everything he had to do this year when he was healthy. And I just don't think that they've been trying to get him for a few years, and to just trade him. I know that he really doesn't have a place to play. And even Chandler Rome in his article said that second base is probably not the best option. So we'll go ahead and continue this conversation, because this is a big key. Are they going to retool, reload, or run it back? And so Christian Walker and Isoc Paredes is kind of the big issue in which direction the Astros are going to go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome in. This is a show that is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it gives me so many ways to play. I've built player parlays, I've traded player props, and even followed the live lines during the games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little bit something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com today. Download the app, go to FanDuel, get started, bet 5, win 300. Let's go.
Hey guys, thank you for making the Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day, whether it's on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Go make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, go and check us out. When you look at the roster, the Astros are still built to win, but the window is not infinite. The question for Dana Brown and the front office is whether you double down on the core or start setting up before the 2026 season sets up. So to go off of, I'm going to go and allow you to say what you're going to say earlier about the Isoc Paredes situation, but the Astros core is here.
No, yeah, it is here. And, you know, you do make a valid point about Isoc's versatility, but if he can play first base and we got Christian Walker, and he can play second base and you've got Altuve, who's probably not going to play left field because you want Yordan Alvarez to perform the way that he should when he's playing in the field, because he's a better hitter when he plays in the field. It's a statistical, it's not some anomaly. It's scientific. Okay.
Right.
It is backed by hard stats, and a majority of his career, when you see that he hits, he performs better at the plate. Again, now, someone mentioned something. Carlos Correa and Altuve can't play the whole year healthy.
Right.
Carlos Correa's health may be the thing that keeps Paredes here. But the thing is, are you going to have Paredes here? And are you going to spot start this guy? Are you going to start him 2 out of 3 games? How are you going to get him in the game? And I think with the retool, the reload, and run it back, God forbid if they run it back. Why would you run it back? It hasn't worked 2 years in a row. You got to reload. You got to retool. You've got to get some different people in this clubhouse. You've got to shed some dead weight. Guys like Chas McCormick, I'm sorry, don't have a place on this team. You got to make a spot for Melton. You got to have a spot for your young outfielder, for Zach Cole, guys like that, Cam Smith. Chaz, just to me, has no place. I think he's overstayed his welcome and needs to continue his career elsewhere. Guys like that need to be released. They need to move on from them. So I think retooling and reloading, but I think what Isoc has in his favor, number one, he's not old. He's pretty young, right, relative to baseball terms. He's versatile. And like you said, he sees a lot of pitches at the plate. Also, it will be interesting to see what hitting coaches they bring in and who they bring in to do that, and wonder if that will be a determinant on who they keep or who they dangle out there as trade bait.
So before we get into what could the Astros do with this money, let's talk about how much money they have. So we know there's some free agents. Framber Valdez is a free agent. He made $18 million last year. Victor Caratini made $6.05 million last year. Brendan Rodgers, he made $2 million last year. So that's about $26 million that's coming off the books. You also have, you talked about 2023, all the bad decisions that were made at that time. Jose Abreu, he made $19.5 million for sitting on this couch last year. Rafael Montero made $8.5 million. That's coming off the books. And Ryan Presley, the Astros are still paying some of that. So that's $31.5 million that the Astros have coming off the book. So if you look at the taxable $230 million payroll that they're projected to be at right now, that's underneath the luxury tax payroll of $244.8 million. So you have approximately, give or take, depending on arbitration, you have about $44 million there. So that's basically where they are. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Sorry, my bad. Yeah,
someone said. Someone here says, dead weight on the team is Correa, but I suppose that's better left unsaid. Hey,
I apologize. It's projected to be $235.8 million right now.
So do you hear what I say about Correa?
No.
Okay. One person said dead weight on this team is Correa, but I suppose that's better left unsaid.
Well, he's a bench coach.
He is an extra coach.
Todd is going to go talk to him. Hey, what should we do with Isoc Paredes?
Well, look, here's the deal. Look, I mean, I understand the downside to Correa. He is getting paid a lot of money. He is here for a couple years, contractually speaking. He has dealt with a lot of injuries in Minnesota, and you hope that he finds that fire. Look, if you're talking about the core, Altuve absolutely has to be better next year. He can't listen to this. He's in decline stuff. He's got to come back and have a resurgent year. Jeremy Pena has just got to stay healthy. I think he stays healthy. He's one of the top shortstops in the game right now. Hands down. If Jeremy Pena gives me a full 145 to 150 games and he's in all those games because he's healthy, I think he's competing for an MVP. I'm not saying he wins it, but I'm saying he's competing for it. He's that good. At the plate, he improved. With the glove, he's unbelievable. He's still got the speed. And so he is very much your five-tool guy. He is your guy that can do it all. Jake Myers is here. We know the arm strength isn't there, but he is clearly one of the best defensive center fielders. And it's very rare for you to have all these position players where they're good both offensively and defensively, right? Kind of like Dalton Varsho. Now, Dalton Varsho for the Blue Jays has really shown up big here in the playoffs, but Dalton Varsho most of the season has not been a great bat. But look, good Lord, like that defense is why you have him out there. Heck, Miles Straw, just kind of going with a former Astro. He spent all season in AAA. Now he's in the playoffs making sliding catches, saving runs on the board for the Blue Jays. And so the reason why I talk about those two guys is that Jake Myers, to me, is just that guy that you have. He's not a super high cost center fielder. What his glove gets you and what he does for you in center field gives you benefits beyond what you need. And we don't have to go out and spend money on a center fielder, y'all. I don't know why y'all want to keep talking about bringing Cody Bellinger here as a center fielder. Absolutely not. Bellinger's not going to play in Houston. Altuve probably would not allow it. I mean, come on, guys. Like, really? We're going to have this conversation again?
Forget Altuve. Correa would not.
Oh, that's right. Correa. Yeah.
Correa is the one that had the issue with Bellinger. So that will not happen. I can guarantee you. But I think it's funny that you say that Jake Myers, but Jake Myers is probably, if you're going to go ahead and reload and retool, reload, in my opinion, is restocking the farm system a little bit, bringing in some more talent. Retooling is bringing in some major league talent. But Jake Myers is a guy that you could legitimately trade. If Zach Cole is a legitimate, he's a option, and you can rebuild your farm system a little bit. He's not going to give you a lot.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, as much as I'm endorsing Jake Myers as our starting center fielder and keeping him on board, I don't know that on the trade market he has a lot of return value. I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think, okay, he has staying power in that his glove is what you need. Right. But transcending that and translating that into being valuable to another team, I mean, I don't know.
Right.
They always say outfielders are a dime a dozen. And but hey, at the end of the day, the Astros have some interesting questions to answer, like with Zach Cole. I mean, this kid, Eric, has got some promise. This kid is someone that you need to pay attention to. And I'm wondering if any of these moves in the offseason, if any of their moves are going to be them signing extensions for one Jeremy Pena or Hunter Brown.
We'll have to talk about the next. Of course, nothing happens without the front office pulling all the right strings, and that brings us how the leadership of Houston Astros are approaching the 2026 season and beyond. And that kind of goes on to what you're just talking about. Guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day.
What's up, everybody? This is H-Town Wheelhouse, and I'm here to talk to you about Monarch Money. Go to monarchmoney.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your first year. That's right. I know a lot of y'all have various financial accounts, and sometimes it's hard keeping up with your 401k, your properties, your investments without knowing the full picture of what you really have. And if you do that, you're leaving money on the table. Look, if you don't control your money is going to control you. And this is an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Maximizing investments, increasing your savings rates, and easily reviewing your finances with your partner or with your financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week, long term, there's nothing like it. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB.
Hey, guys. Thank you for watching Locked On Astros podcast. We appreciate you watching us every day throughout the whole offseason. We are your team every day, and we'll be here all offseason, and we'll go and bring up all the latest news, all the latest rumors, whatever's going on. So just because Astros season is over doesn't mean the Locked On Astros podcast season is over. So the Astros front office has been walking a fine line the past few years. Do we go over the CBT, or do we not? And they end up always doing it because the end goal is to win a championship. And Jim Crane has said that as long as I'm here, we're going to be a contender for the World Series. So what does Dana Brown and the rest of the staff do at this point? And I know that recently they've been talking about the reason why that the hitting coaches were fired or not brought back. The fact was, last summer they did talk to both of them and say, hey, we need to get these guys to have a more patient approach, change the whole philosophy of things. And those two hitting coaches could not get that going with the guys. And so they're looking for somebody to come in and do this. And I know we talked about this the other day, Brett. Is this a personnel issue or a philosophy issue? And so right now the Astros have some players that they can non-tender, but at the same time, you don't want to non-tender everybody. You have till November 14th to try to trade some of these guys. And the Astros farm system is thin. I know we're going to talk the farm system tomorrow on tomorrow's show, but this is a opportunity for you. Maybe if you don't like Jesus Sanchez, maybe some other team could give you a lower level prospect for him just so you can get something instead of just non-tendering him.
So you're asking me if this is a philosophy or a personnel issue. I think it's both, but I think it's a personnel issue because of the philosophy. And I think the philosophy was affected if you go back to when James Click was let go because of some whatever random personality conflict. Now, I can only say this because it's out of pure speculation. I don't have anything definitive. I can't rewind time and keep James Click in place and see what the Astros results are after that. But all this stuff happened after James Click left. All this stuff started going and falling apart after James Click left. And so what was it about his philosophy that Jim Crane didn't like? What was it that he was doing or not doing that got him run out of town? Because the debacle of not having a GM, all off season, and then Dana Brown comes in, and then Dana Brown inherits a mess. And then Dana Brown was kind of put behind the 8 ball since he got here. And so he can't win for losing. And then I think if that's the case, what is the philosophy of the owner? What is it that Jim Crane's thinking or not thinking when it comes to the makeup of this team? And for a team that relies so heavily on analytics and all this stuff, I don't think anybody could have seen the Jose Abreu decline. Okay. The way he fell off a cliff was just really, because everybody was like, yes, great move. What's funny is when he fell off the cliff, everyone was like, yeah, I knew he was too old. Like, no, you didn't. You're just saying that to make yourself not look bad. I mean, I admit it. I thought it was a great move. I was excited. I thought because we were at Minute Maid or Dyke Park at the time that we would see, 30 home runs, all that stuff. I really did. We thought the same thing with Christian Walker. But if you're going to toe the line of the CBT or go over it, I mean, just bust through it. I'm sorry. I mean, look, Jim Crane, if you want to get to the playoffs, you've got to do something different. They're going to have to make a big splash. Pitching is the name of the game right now. You got to bolster that bullpen. You've got to get more starters in there.
Right.
There's no way I'm depending on Arrighetti and Javier in the same season. And then Ronell's coming back in July, probably. Wisniewski's probably coming back in July. So those guys won't be ready to have the season. So you've got to go out and get starting pitching, if these young guys are your future in the outfield, then yeah, maybe Jake Myers, maybe you move him. But at the end of the day, Eric, it's both. And I think the philosophy has changed a bit. And I still, to this day, can't see why, if Kikuchi was such, and I know I'm dragging up the past, but in 23, if Kikuchi was such a vital part of your run to get to the playoffs that year,
24.
Why wouldn't you award him to start one of those games? I really think if you start Kikuchi in game 1 and Hunter in game 2, I think you win that series. I really do. Because then if you go to a game 3, you've got Hunter Brown in game 3. I mean, you got Valdez and Hunter Brown behind Kikuchi. I don't see anywhere where they lose that. Now, of course, we know the offense was defunct at home, so that may not have mattered who was starting. But there are things along the way that you just scratch your head and you go, what is the direction? And that's why the hitting coaches were let go, because they were talked to before 2025. And Dana Brown, to his credit, did say, we need to make sure that our approach is better. And their approach was not better. But at the same time, these are hitting coaches that in 2022, they had like one of the best offenses in the league. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so I think the philosophy has changed. Now, I don't know what it's changed to or what the overarching theme is, but they've got to quit doing the same thing where they try to make a little splash and try to go a little bit over. Like, if you're going to go all in, then freaking go all in, because this is 26. And after this year, I'm hoping there's not a stoppage, but after 26, you could have a delay in the 27 season.
Yeah, last season they decided to retool a little bit. That's why they did a whole Kyle Tucker trade and let Alex Bregman go. They lost a lot of leadership and they lost a lot of the patience at the plate. And so you have a lot of hitters that basically do the same thing in this lineup. And so when you have a really good pitcher that's throwing really good stuff, they can really trick the Houston Astros lineup. So you've got to use this this offseason to really determine what's our philosophy. What do we want to do? Like, look at the Blue Jays lineup. They've been doing pretty good this whole offseason. And I know George Springer has come back to life. You have Vladimir Guerrero out there doing great things.
Yeah.
But the Astros, they could be out there doing the same thing. In fact, it's kind of weird that all the division winners made it to the championship series. No wild card teams. This is the first time in quite a while, because you always have those stupid Nationals that come out of nowhere and beat you in the freaking World Series. But Dana's got to decide what to do. Are we going to go ahead and just add another starting pitcher, maybe 2 starting pitchers? But I think what we've seen in the past is, because they're trying to toe that line, like you said earlier, they don't go out and they don't get the depth they need for the whole season. They're like, well, we got these guys coming back from injuries. How did that work out for you this season? How did it work for you last year, the year before, when you had to go out and get Kikuchi because everybody was hurt?
In 30 seconds or less, if you can get Justin Verlander back on a decent deal, knowing all the injuries you have and knowing how he ended last year, would you bring him back for a third time?
Yeah. I think if there's a desire for him to come back here, I don't know if they really had any type of contract negotiations, but this team needs some leadership, especially in the rotation. I know Hunter Brown is one of those leaders, but he's still just young. He's still really young out there. So if you bring somebody like Verlander, that just brings this presence into the locker room. And is he going to be your number 1 guy? No. He'll probably be 5th starter at this point, but it's better than what some of the guys the Astros have had this past season. So it's just Dana Brown has got his side. Are we going to reload? Are we going to give up some of these arbitration guys, try to trade them before we just give them away at the non-tender deadline just to get rid of their contract? Or are we going to try to trade them? Or are we going to try to keep them? Because there's a whole bunch of interesting names on that list. And I think what happens over the next 3 months or 4 months will dictate how good the Houston Astros are in 2025 or 2026.
Yeah, definitely. No. And, there's definitely some interesting takes here. Rob says the Astros aren't taking any big name pitchers. Too much money, too risky due to arm blowouts. They shot mid-tier pitchers. I don't mind mid-tier pitchers. Is Jack Flaherty a mid-tier pitcher? Is Merrill Kelly a mid-tier pitcher? I mean, who's out there? I'm just saying. But look, the bottom line is this lineup will look different. We will have different people, and hopefully with the addition of pitchers that are quality, we can up the Astros game and get them back to the playoffs, because not having, and I hadn't really thought about that until today, no playoff wins in 2 years. That's brutal.
Yeah, it sucks. And I'm going to go with your quote. It's at the end of the day, it's not just about 2026. It's about setting up the next championship core while staying financially smart. And the Astros are right in the middle of those crossroads. Do they go right? Do they go left? Do they go straight? It's kind of which direction is Dana Brown going to go? And we have all off season to kind of discuss this, because we really don't know which direction they're going. But
well, in the words of the great Yogi Berra, when you get to a fork in the road, you take it.
Which direction though?
That's the point. You just take it. No on Devin Williams. Sorry.
All right, guys. That's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Go and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go and check us out. We'll be here all off season, and we'll whatever breaks, whatever rumors are out there, whatever news that comes out, we'll be talking about it all off season. So we're not going on vacation. So make sure you tune in. So guys, thank you for making us your first listen.
We're not going on vacation.
Just say good pros.
Hey, look, hold on. Astro Wolf Craig. No. Okay. You say we're spoiled. Trust me. I was here plenty of years with no playoffs. I remember the 17 years with no playoffs. Trust me. My entire childhood was no playoffs or getting beat by the Braves. So we're not spoiled. We're just in the now. Let's go.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow.